Hi, I'm Leonard Ash with Alameda County Water District, and I'd like to tell you about our fish passage facilities on Alameda Creek. But before I begin that process, let me show you some of our recharge ponds, like Shin Pond behind me. 40% of ACWD's water supply every year comes from local sources. That's rainfall within the Alameda Creek watershed. And ACWD captures that local runoff, and a majority of that 40% ends up in quarry ponds like Shin Pond. We take that water and put it into these ponds so it can percolate and recharge the groundwater basin. And then through our production wells, we can pump that water and deliver it to our customers. So the recharge operations behind me are critical for ACWD's water supply resilience and reliability. Now, let me show you how we divert water from Alameda Creek. ACWD has 12 diversion inlets at 4 locations along Alameda Creek. And when we inflate one of our 2 rubber dams in Alameda Creek, that creates an impoundment or a pool of water. That pool of water submerges the inlets for these diversions and allows us to take water by gravity from Alameda Creek into the adjacent quarry pits. That allows us to recharge our groundwater basin, providing reliable water supply to our customers. Because of the presence of federally threatened Omicus fish in Alameda Creek, we've installed cylindrical fish screens, and these fish screens are lowered down to rest right in front of those inlet gates. And the screen allows water to flow through the openings in the screen, but the openings are so small that even the smallest fish stay within Alameda Creek. So it allows us to continue diverting water, which is important for our water supply, but it protects the fish that are in the creek and allows them to continue on their way. Next, let's go see one of ACWD's rubber dams, rubber dam number 1. Here we are at ACWD's rubber dam number 1. This is the very first inflatable dam that ACWD installed within Alameda Creek. And as you can see behind me, Alameda Creek is a trapezoidal channel. It was built as a flood control channel in the 1970s, and shortly thereafter, ACWD built rubber dam number 1. This is a water-filled dam, meaning we can inflate the dam from 1 foot, 2 feet, all the way up to 13 feet in height by adjusting the amount of water that's in the rubber bladder. This allows us to operate this rubber dam under a range of flow conditions. But when there's a lot of flow in the creek, such as a really big storm event like an atmospheric river, ACWD can fully deflate this dam. It lies flat on the bottom of the creek channel and allows all the water to go out to the bay. And this provides flood protection for the communities adjacent to the creek. But when the flows drop off, ACWD will inflate this dam, build up an impoundment of water so that we can divert water into the adjacent quarry pits. Because of the range of operations for this rubber dam, we needed a fish ladder that provides fish passage under a very wide range of conditions. So when we had to build the fish passage facilities, we had to take into account that complexity of our dam operations. Because when this dam is inflated, it provides a barrier for in-migrating fish, ACWD constructed a fish passage facility, a very complex fish ladder to provide fish passage around rubber dam number 1. Let's go take a look. Immediately downstream of ACWD's rubber dam number 1 is a large concrete weir that's maintained by Alameda County Flood Control District. Because that's also a barrier for fish passage under low flow conditions, both agencies work together to construct one fish passage facility that spans both of those barriers. The fish passage facility behind me is actually 2 fish ladders in 1. And next to me is the lower fish ladder. This is a traditional vortex pull and shoot ladder. The fish passage is provided by water moving from one pool to the next through a cascade fashion. So as fish are moving downstream, they simply drop from one pool to the next. And the height differential is low enough that any in-migrating fish can easily jump up over the weirs from one pool to the next. Beyond this fish ladder is a resting pool. That resting pool gives fish an opportunity to build up their energy as they move through that second fish ladder, a vertical slot fish ladder that I'll show you next. This is the upper portion of the fish passage facility, and this is a vertical slot fish ladder. Fish moving upstream from the resting pool will enter this portion of the fish passage facility through an entrance gate, and from there they work their way up through a series of 20 different pools. The pools are created by concrete walls within the ladder itself, but there's a 1-foot gap that runs from the top of the concrete wall all the way to the base of the ladder. That provides free passage for fish to move upstream or downstream under a range of flow conditions. Now, for in-migrating fish, ACWD operates this portion of the fish passage facility to operate between 24 and 45 cubic feet per second. That's enough water for fish to move freely, but not so much water that it overwhelms the fish. For out-migrating fish, ACWD can operate this ladder up to 200 cubic feet per second. And that's when the small juvenile fish or the kelts are moving back out to the bay, and they can freely move through the ladder, or under really high flow conditions, water can go over the top of the rubber dam, and ACWD installed a plunge pool downstream of that dam so that any fish going over the top of the dam have a safe space to land and continue on their way out to the bay. Because this ladder needs to operate under a range of dam heights from fully deflated to about 13 feet when it's completely filled, this fish passage facility also needs to provide safe fish passage under a range of flow conditions. And because of that complexity, this is one of the most complicated fish ladders in North America. There's one more important feature of the vertical slot fish ladder that I'd like to point out. ACWD operates and maintains a trash rake at the exit of the vertical slot fish ladder. The purpose of the trash rake is to filter out large pieces of debris, such as tree trunks or coolers or trash that might be floating in the creek. Under high flow, sometimes debris is mobilized and moves down the creek, and the trash grate keeps that debris from going into the vertical slot fish ladder. Now, the trash grate can sometimes accumulate trash, and so the trash rake is on an automated program so that it goes through a cleaning cycle that keeps the grate clear of debris that might accumulate on the upper side of the fish ladder. This fish passage facility contains 2 biological monitoring equipment that help us monitor for fish movement through the ladder. The first is a sonar camera, which picks up images of fish moving upstream or downstream through the ladder. The second is passive integrated transponder, or PIT tag antennas. These antennae look for fish that are implanted with these PIT tags. These PIT tags contain a unique identifier, and when the fish are implanted with these tags, the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission records vital information such as the weight, length, and condition of the fish. If a fish implanted with this tag moves through our ladder, we have 4 PIT tag antenna loops that look for those tags and will retrieve a unique identifier. We use this information to monitor for fish movement either upstream or downstream through our ladder. This equipment was selected in conversation with the wider Alameda Creek Watershed Fisheries Restoration Working Group. This work group is comprised of public agencies and non-governmental organizations within the watershed that are looking to restore fisheries within Alameda Creek watershed. So this equipment was selected to be compatible with efforts that other public agencies are doing to restore the fisheries population in the Alameda Creek watershed. Thank you for joining me today for this tour of our fish passage facilities, where you have learned about how we protect our environmental resources and secure reliable water supply for our community. For more information, please visit our website. Thanks again for watching.